The time is precisely 6:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here's the news edited by Dulmin Samarasinha and read by Ramesh Perez. First, the headlines. The President instructs to remove discrepancies when purchasing liquid milk. The Foreign Secretary says Sri Lanka is prepared to face UN human rights sessions. Sri Lanka and the European Union identify areas for close collaboration. The Ukraine crisis expected to affect Sri Lanka. The program to offer 100,000 land deeds in Mahaveli zones will commence tomorrow. The enjoining order on Government Nursing Officers Association extended. In news overseas, Ukraine prepares for a Russian assault on the capital, Kiev. In sports, it's football. The Champions League final moved from Russia to Paris. Now the local news in detail. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has instructed Minister Mahindananda Aluthgamage and State Minister D.P. Herath to take immediate steps to remove discrepancies when purchasing liquid milk. The President made an inspection tour of Milko at Narayanpeta this morning. The President has given the instructions with the aim of uplifting dairy farmers and popularizing drinking of liquid milk. The President has paid special attention on price differences when purchasing liquid milk at district level. President Rajapaksa said that entire process should be fully monitored to prevent malpractices by middlemen when taking dairy farmers' products to organizations. The President instructed officials to grow grass on unused lands of the National Livestock Development Board and to develop Narayanpeta Milko factory. Meanwhile, State Minister D.P. Chanaka said that President instructed to give 100 rupees for a litre of liquid milk. Secretary to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Admiral Professor Jayanath Kunambake says that all measures are being taken for peace in Sri Lanka. He mentioned this while taking part in a discussion on Sri Lanka's governance preparedness in connection with UN Human Rights Council sessions, which commence on Monday. The discussion took place at the Government Information Department today. He said everyone in the country should come together to end the country's problems. He added the government is prepared to successfully face the Geneva summit. Foreign Minister Professor G.L. Peiris met with the Commissioner of the European Union for International Partnerships, Jutta Urpilainen, on the sidelines of the Ministerial Forum for Cooperation in the Indo-Pacific held at the French Foreign Ministry in Paris. Minister Professor Peiris discussed with EU Commissioner Urpilainen the strengthening of partnerships between Sri Lanka and the European Union with regard to value-added exports as well as partnerships in respect of investments in priority sectors. The discussion also touched on health policy cooperation, connectivity among ports and harbours in the region, vocational training and digitalization. European Commissioner Urpilainen told Minister Professor Peiris that the EU is increasingly outward-looking in reaching out to countries around the Indian Ocean and the Pacific. Senior lecturer on international relations of the Columbia University, Kulani Vijaybahu says Ukraine crisis will have an impact on Sri Lanka. She said it would further aggravate the oil crisis faced by the country. 15% of the tourists has arrived in the country from Russia this year, while 8% from Ukraine. She said the situation can be and directly or indirectly affect the local tourism industry. The program to offer 100,000 land deeds in 10 Mahaveli zones will commence tomorrow. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa will be the chief guest of the ceremony, which will commence at 10 a.m. tomorrow at the Ambilipitiya Mahaveli ground. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa will also attend the event. A live simulcast of the event will be brought by the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation and the Rupahani Corporation from 10 a.m. tomorrow. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The Colombo District Court today further extended its enjoining order preventing Government Nursing Officers Association from carrying out trade union activities causing hardships to the patients. The enjoining order will be effective until February 28th. The Court of Appeal was informed today that liquefied petroleum gas is being distributed in the country in compliance with the court orders. This was conveyed by the Consumer Affairs Authority and the two suppliers of LP gas in Sri Lanka, Litrogas and Lavs Gas. The Ukrainian community in Sri Lanka launched a protest in front of the Russian embassy in Colombo today against Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Ukrainian nationals stood outside the embassy holding placards said the war launched by Russia had caused casualties among military and civilians. Ukrainians residing and travelling in Sri Lanka said they want the world to hear their voice. 7 Tripitaka books translated by the Tripitaka Books Compilation Board under the guidance of Buddhist Affairs Department have been launched. The books were launched under the patronage of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa at the Temple Trees yesterday. And that ends local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Health Ministry said today 314 more patients have recovered from COVID-19 within last 24 hours. This brings the total number of COVID-19 recoveries in the country to 608,226. Meanwhile, 17,444 patients are under medical care at present. Sri Lanka has recorded 641,786 coronavirus cases and 16,116 deaths since the outbreak of the pandemic. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
This is Watchlight.
In Watchlight, Deputy Inspector General of Traffic, Indika Hapugoda says around 8 persons are lost daily owing to road accidents. He said that a mechanism will be implemented to mitigate road accidents and save lives. A traffic surveillance system will be introduced while upgrading the present CCTV system. DIG Hapugoda said drivers who violate traffic laws will be identified with the traffic surveillance system. And that came to you in Watchlight. A bulletin of world news is next.
Coming up, world news.
Moving on to the bulletin of world news, first the headlines. Ukraine prepares for a Russian assault on the capital, Kiev. Ukraine urges residents to defend the capital. Oil prices rises as Russia invasion nears Ukraine capital. Now the world news in detail. Ukrainian officials are preparing for a Russian assault on the capital, Kiev, as the full-scale attack enters a second day. President Vladimir Zelensky says 137 people have been killed so far, including civilians. The UN's refugee agency says about 100,000 Ukrainians have been displaced, with thousands fleeing to nearby European states. Thousands of people have taken shelter in metro stations throughout the Ukrainian capital amid Russia's assault. Western powers have announced sweeping sanctions on Russia. The sound of gunfire has echoed through Ukraine's capital, Kiev, as Russian tanks were filmed entering the city for the first time. Ukraine's Ministry of Defense called on those living in Kiev's northern outskirts to make firebombs to neutralize the enemy. Overnight, the city was hit by blasts, at least one block of flats damaged and several civilians injured. Russia has denied carrying out strikes. Oil prices rose today amid investor concerns over tightening supplies as Russia's invasion of Ukraine entered its second day. The price of Brent crude oil rose by more than 2% to $101 a barrel as fighting appeared to intensify near the Ukrainian capital, Kiev. But stock markets in Europe and Asia rebounded as investors assessed Western sanctions on Russia. Back to the headlines of the world news. Ukraine prepares for a Russian assault on the capital, Kiev. Ukraine urges residents to defend the capital. And oil prices rise as Russia invasion nears Ukraine capital. And that concludes the bulletin of world news.
Development news is brought to you by Let's take coal out of the coconut tree and make the island thriving and prosperous. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has instructed officials of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development to work according to the national plan when implementing development projects island-wide. The Prime Minister emphasized this while taking part in the progress review meeting of Urban Revival Programme, Colombo Urban Revival Programme and other related projects. The government has planned to construct 50,000 houses by 2024 for housing schemes with insufficient facilities in urban areas. And that was Development News.
Development News was brought to you by The coconut tree is well grown in almost all the parts of the island. It is an exceptional source of extra income. The shell, the husk and almost all the parts of the coconut tree makes you money, providing you with an excellent extra source of income. It will also help to nourish the economy of the country. You will be guided with all necessary informations regarding the coconut cultivation, with the novel cultivation techniques and all other related and upgraded informations by the Coconut Research Institute, Lunavilla. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928. Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
Moving on to sports news, it's football. The 2022 Champions League final will be played in Paris after Russia was stripped of the match following the nation's invasion of Ukraine. The final of Europe's most prestigious club competition was due to be played in St. Petersburg on 28 May. Following a meeting on Friday, UEFA confirmed the match would not be held at the Gazprom Arena. Instead, the European football governing body has decided it will be staged at the Stade de France in Paris. And that was sports news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
People's Bank picked the first batch of winners of the People's Remittance Draw when the daily and weekly winners for the first and 2 weeks of February were selected. The event was held at the People's Bank Overseas Customer Services premises at Colombo 10 recently. Prizes will be presented to 14 daily winners, while the 2 weekly winners will be awarded 22-carat gold sovereigns. And that was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10-second prize winners. iPhones for the 10-third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic news, courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
Sri Lanka's merchandise exports increased by 13% to $1,062.63 million in January 2022 compared to January 2021 as per the data released by the Sri Lanka Customs. EDB Chairman Suresh D. Dimel said exports performance in January 2022 has been remarkable and the growth has been all-encompassing as almost all the major sectors have exhibited encouraging trends. And that ends economic news. The weather report is next.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
And finally, on to the weather report. The Met Department says showers or thunder showers will occur at times in the northern, north central, eastern and Uva provinces and in Matale and Hambantota districts. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places elsewhere during the evening or night. Fairly heavy showers above 50 millimeters can be expected at some places in the western and Sabaragamu provinces and in the Nuwara Gaul and Matara districts. And that was the weather report. And to end this news broadcast, a recap of the main news headlines. The President instructs to remove discrepancies when purchasing liquid milk. The Foreign Secretary says Sri Lanka is prepared to face UN human rights sessions. Sri Lanka and the European Union identify areas for close collaboration. The Ukraine crisis expected to affect Sri Lanka. The program to offer 100,000 land deeds in Maha Valley zones will commence tomorrow. The enjoining order on Government Nursing Officers Association extended. In news overseas, Ukraine prepares for a Russian assault on the capital, Kiev. And in sports, it's football. The Champions League final moved from Russia to Paris. And with that, we conclude this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.